About India, we have around 200 million Muslims in India, and we have the old management of Awqaf in India regarding to the Al-Majlis Al-Markazi, the Center Council for Awqaf in India, and we have around 490,000. 490,000. You mean 500,000 of Awqaf registered by this council, but in fact. This not reflect the number of the Muslim in India. We have many poor in India. The economic of Awqaf is not very well. The investment not very well. The income of this huge number is not very well also. So we have a problem in investment and in management and investment in India. In Bangladesh, as I said before, we have many rules. Start on 1934 and 62 and 2013. We have concerning of Awqaf in Bangladesh, maybe sometimes better than Pakistan, but the problem with the Bangladesh exactly about the registration. We don't finish the registration yet in the whole properties of Awqaf in Bangladesh. Maldives also, I saw last time I met one of the religious ministry of Maldives. He told me we have a problem with Awqaf. Maldives, the completely Muslim country, 400,000 Muslim, complete Muslim country. But the problem with this country, they don't have awareness of Awqaf. They don't have a good management, a good governance. Just the practice Awqaf as the practice charity foundation, and this is the problem in Maldives. However, we have challenge for this Awqaf management through this countries. First of all, we talking about the governance. We don't have until now in the 5 countries. We don't have governance of these governance system for management and investment Awqaf, and also we don't have awareness enough for the common people, especially Muslims, about the importance of Awqaf for society and economic. We don't have enough awareness about that. Also, and this is very important about we don't find any country completely finish the registration of the whole asset of Awqaf in this area. Our study regarding to the we estimated of the Awqaf of the asset of Awqaf in this country, we can find the majority with India and Pakistan and Bangladesh, 3 or 2% between Sri Lanka and Maldives. I think Sri Lanka 2 million Muslim minority in Sri Lanka, and Maldives majority Muslim 400,000. But however, maybe Brother Naeem, he knows better than me. We don't have what you call a complete registration for all Awqaf, like schools or like mosque or like society. And our study reached that India and Pakistan is the best example in this area, and we found Sri Lanka and Maldives needs more to improve their system. The result of this region of this area in the whole Muslim world, we found it takes 5th rank in this level. شكرا دكتور مصطفى.
بارك الله فيكم. Thank you very much, Dr. Sami, for your speech. And now, before we proceed, I would like to extend my sincere apologies on behalf of our forum for the absence of Dr. Rahman Khan, the Waqf Affairs official in the Indian government, unfortunately, due to health-related circumstances. So he is unable to join us today. We wish him a swift recovery and hope to have the opportunity to benefit from his insight in future discussions. We will start now with the first speaker, Dr. Muhammad Uthman. He is an assistant professor. He will talk about Waqf in Pakistan. He is an assistant professor at the Department of Economics in Federal Urdu University of Arts, Sciences and Technology. Dr. Muhammad Uthman wrote many research about Waqf and how to improve Waqf in Pakistan. Please, Dr. Muhammad Uthman, you can start. You have 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Seri. Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you, Dr. Sami As-Salihat. I'm really pleased to join this session, and I hope I will learn from all of you. And also thank you, Brother Mustafa Anjum. Please allow me to share my slide.
Yes, Ustad Rasha, can you make him a co-host?
Is it visible now?
Yes, it was visible, but can you
Am I
start showing?
now? It is better.
Yes, now.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Muhammad Usman. As mentioned by the Mustafa Anjum, I am assistant professor in Department of Economics, Federal Urdu University of Arts, Science and Technology in Karachi. This is just our look regarding the Pakistan. We have basically 5 provinces: Balochistan, Punjab, KPK, and Gilgit-Baltistan. And we discuss about the assets, type of asset, and Waqf management, all these 5 areas. Uh, Initially, I mentioned uh, this slide, which is basically showing the assets management overall in Pakistan in these 5 regions, including Sindh, Punjab, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, Azad Kashmir. Sindh, Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and Balochistan. These are basically 5 different provinces. And Azad Kashmir is also a part, separate state, independent state as a part of state of Pakistan. Uh, if we look the assets in Pakistan, you can see in this table you cannot find data somewhere like in Azad Kashmir, in Islamabad and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I categorize these assets in terms of shops, houses, plots, masajid, graveyard, rooms, and other, including the agricultural land and commercial land. As compared to other countries like Malaysia, Pakistan also have a great potential, but our assets are still underdeveloped. If you see in the first line in Sindh, if we consider the agricultural land, we are 10,912 acre in only Sindh, and this is the agricultural land, and we also have 30 in Sindh as a commercial land, and these commercial land are really valuable inside the urban areas. Whereas we come to the Punjab, we have 74,964 acre in Punjab, and this is where we discuss about the Muslim Mawqaf. We also have non-Muslim Mawqaf in Pakistan also. When we come to the Peshawar, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we have 2,113 acres. And in Balochistan, unfortunately, we don't have Waqf land. We have just only 2 masajid. And in the last Kashmir, we have 383 acre agricultural land. With these, if we come to the commercial land, unfortunately in Pakistan, we don't have any centralized body, any centralized system where we can collect or we can get the information regarding the workup. Whatever I have mentioning here, I just got all this information from their websites or individual meeting with their OCAF officers. So you can see, especially in Sindh and Punjab, we have a great potential with the agricultural land, commercial land, and we have different sort of graveyards, masajid, plots, houses, shops, and if we develop it properly with a huge funding, we can have a huge return from all these things. Let's come to the second slide. In the previous slide, I was discussing about the public OCAF. When we're discussing about in Pakistan, we have to differentiate the public and private. Uh, in public OCAF, we have a proper system for the registration and legal framework. Later on, I will discuss about these things. Whatever when we were discussing about the private OCAF, in private OCAF, we don't have any form of proper legal laws and regulations. In basically, private OCAF are not incorporated. That's why they are aligned to the British law, and they are registered as a Society Act 1860 and Trust Act 1862 or under the Section 42 as a private limited company. And you will find Hamdard Wakaf Laboratories, Indus Hospital, Aisha Bawani Trust, and all around in Pakistan, thousands of madaris are registered as a society. So we have a great potential and lots of OCAF assets, but those are not registered. If they are registered, they are just following the uh, or they are just aligned to the British rule or British law. The reason is that as a private entity, we cannot register as a Waqf because we don't have any specific law regarding this. Now, how to manage these Waqf? Basically, the major income sources for the when we're discussing about the public Waqf, we are getting rent from the commercial and residential properties, the rent from the Waqf properties under the administrative control of the department is collected on monthly basis. After every 3 months, an increase of 25% is added in current rent. On the same pattern, rent from the residential properties is collected. We have cash boxes. Cash boxes are basically placed at the shrines, are major source of the income of the organization. The devotees offer their nazrana. Nazrana basically is a type of donation. Shoe keeping, flower shops, toilet contracts. These are basically the way how they are collecting funding from the other income sources. Fee on the transfer of property, commercial and residential properties which are rented basis are transfer after the hearing the uh, parties. Same as the sales of publication and Awqaf organization also publish books on Islamic topics and furthermore lease of the agricultural land. So you can see these are the sources from the public side, how they are collecting money from the different sources. And you can see this only for the long term income. They have only one source of rent. They the resources, the properties of Waqf are still not properly developed to have a huge amount of income and earning from these properties. Uh, in the every city or division of the country, basically the Awqaf properties are governor or managed by the deputy chief administrator of Awqaf. His role is just to control and repair all the Waqf properties, including mosque properties under his control. Also, his responsibility is holding of the annual Qiraat competition, Siratul Nabi conference, holding ulama conference, and Ruot Halal committee and Mefina and of the scholar, religious prominent from different countries and conduct of their tours to visit many places. Coordination with the federal religious affair and selection of the government employer for the performance of Hajj and so on. Nomination of the seasonal staff for the Hajj duty to Saudi Arabia. These are the development of the work of legislation. As I mentioned in earlier, we have 5 different as province in Pakistan. So for the every province, we have a different legal register register work of asset. So for every province, we have a different legal framework and have a different department under the provisional level, not on the central level. And the future of work of in case of Pakistan, what I understand after studying all this, we need a robust work of laws and regulatory framework for both public and private work of in Pakistan. Same as we need to segregate the definition work of describe the property word binding principle in the work of further what should be the characteristic of work of asset property, wakif, wakfia, and the mawali. Government officials should familiar about the Waqf concepts and it is and be supportive enough in regulating and enforcing Waqf. Waqf asset properties and business should be exempted from the all form of taxes to make sure the development of the Waqf properties. Waqf governments require competent and highly qualified officials. Whatever I'm discussing here, these are basically challenges in Pakistan. And if we meet them, so we will have a very conducive environment for the development of Waqf in Pakistan. Islamic financial institutions can also play a great role for revealing a new product for Waqf development, such as in Malaysia, we have Bank Islami and other institutions, those are working very well to create Waqf awareness and familiarity with its great role in the society. Uh, we need to introduce Waqf in the national curriculum at various level, including primary, secondary, and higher education. In the last, I will conclude that in the country there should be one single body and authority having all the information database regarding the work of properties in Pakistan. This institution will facilitate in legislation, work of institute in human capital development, and also responsible to create a proper work of awareness in society. In this regard, this authority may collaborate with the government, work of institution, social society, and education institution. These are few suggestion and few information from my side. You are welcome for any question and any discussion regarding this. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Uthman, for this comprehensive idea about Waqf in Pakistan. And actually now we want to move to talk about Waqf in Sri Lanka, but when I see Dr. Naeem is drinking water, wallah, he makes me a fitna. We are struggling with the thirsty now. Allah. So in Malaysia, mashallah, they finish their futur and starting with coffee.
Yes,
MashaAllah.
yes, we are 10:30 now, 10:30 in the night, so we can drink.
MashaAllah. Now we will move with Dr. Muhammad Muhyiddin Naeem to give us an idea about Waqf in Sri Lanka. And Dr. Naeem, he is now a senior lecturer in University Technology, MARA, UITM in Malaysia. He was the director of Fatih Institution for Higher Education in Sri Lanka. And of course, he is one of our team in Strategic Waqf Report. Please, Dr. Naeem, go ahead.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Thank you very much for organizing this session about Waqf in Indian subcontinent. So my thanks goes to Dr. Sami and Dr. Mustafa and other guests. So thank you very much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this event as a good deeds in this Ramadan and show his mercy to all of us. In this presentation, I would like to share some Waqf situation and Waqf factors in Sri Lanka. So Waqf in Sri Lanka the history started from early time of Muslims in Sri Lanka. So they started with the arrival of Muslims to Sri Lanka. So the Waqf institutions have been instrumental in supporting mosques and schools and social welfare initiatives. So there are some challenges for the Waqf in Sri Lanka. Is of course the challenges should be resolved, and we have also some problems with the Waqf assets because of the mismanagement of the Waqf in the previous government's times. So our work in this presentation, I avoid to talk about the numbers of or about the Sri Lanka and Muslims. We all know about the Muslims are minority in Sri Lanka. The majority of them are Buddhist. Muslims are second minority after the Hindus, Buddhists and Hindus. So the number of Muslims around 2 million, as mentioned by Dr. Sami. So our size of the population is very small. So, but the Muslims in Sri Lanka, they are the population, the history is very old. So they are part of the the Sri Lankan society. So we cannot divide the Muslims or separate the Muslim as a separated or the small minority, but we are citizens. We have all the rights in Sri Lanka, religious rights. So the background of the Waqf in Sri Lanka goes, as I mentioned, to the early Arab traders who settles in Sri Lanka. So these traders established the religious and social institutions using the Waqf system. So whenever Muslim come to any new place, they need mosque, they need maqabir, and these are the basic. The Waqf asset started in Sri Lanka. So the concept and the implementation of Waqf started from early time. We cannot say the specific date, but we can say the early arrival of Muslims to Sri Lanka. So, but there are colonial time in Sri Lanka. In that time, there were the Portuguese and British and France colonial times. There were Waqf, but there were also some challenges from that colonial authorities. Especially in the British time, we had some relaxed time for Muslims. So they gave the authority to manage all the Waqf assets in Sri Lanka. So we managed to develop a legal system for Waqf assets in Sri Lanka. So the British colonized time, we had the act of the Waqf in Sri Lanka. This is the official Waqf in Sri Lanka. So in the pre-colonial time, the Waqf, all the Waqf managed by the religious leaders and families and other local trustees. So during the Portuguese and Dutch colonial time, even though we faced some challenges from them to manage our Waqf, in the British time, 1976 to 1948, we have some power to manage our Waqf. So the first act for Waqf in Sri Lanka is Waqf Act number 15 of 1956. This is one of the important achievements for Muslims in Sri Lanka to manage all the Waqf properties through the official act and the and legal framework. So this act is mainly contributed to control the Waqf in that time. So the act mostly aimed to avoid the misuse and encroachment and mismanagement while ensuring they serve their intended religious and social charitable purpose. So the key points in this act was formation of the Waqf board. Right, there is a Waqf board, official government Waqf board in Sri Lanka. They oversee all the registered Waqf. So the system is like this. In Sri Lanka, we have the Ministry of Buddha Sasana and Religious and Cultural Affairs. Under this ministry, so there is a Department of Muslim Religious and Cultural Affairs. So this department as a director and also all the section. So under this Muslim Religious Department, we have a division of Waqf. So this division of Waqf is responsible to manage all the Waqf assets in Sri Lanka. So, and also this act mandatory registration of mosque and Waqf asset under the Waqf board. And also they have the right to appoint the trustees to manage the Waqf properties under the supervision of the board, and financial accountability and legal mechanism to solve the problems faced by the Waqf management. So this act was amended time to time. Right, so in 1960 to 1980s, increased regulatory powers to the Department of Muslim Religious Affairs through this act. And in 90s to until present, there are calls from the Muslim society to do the proper amendment to the Act of the 51. So this act still need to be amended to maintain the Waqf assets, because still this act cannot include or properly manage all the Waqf assets in Sri Lanka. So there are a lot of Waqf assets without registering under this department. There are number of mosques and number of schools and agriculture lands. So still they have problem to face the assets. But actually in Sri Lanka, the Waqf asset is a very big, right? So the income also very big. But the problem we face is mismanagement of this Waqf asset. And in this legal
3 minutes,
and
Dr. Naeem.
okay, so in this legal framework, we have administration framework for the registration of Waqf properties, and also Waqf board and its role for to manage the Waqf, and also financial management. So we can divide all this Waqf Act to 7 parts. So the first part focus on the staff, and the second is registration of the mosque, appointment and the power duties. The fourth one is Muslim streams and the places of religious resource. And the fifth one is Muslim Charitable Trust and Muslim Charitable Fund and general provisions. So this Waqf in Sri Lanka mostly contribute to many sectors, so mosque and religious institutions. Also, sometimes they're managed by the Waqf income, and this income is spent for the education and healthcare, social welfare, and economic development. So there are the Waqf board manage to do this in Sri Lanka. And Waqf is in Sri Lanka facing a lot of challenges, especially legal and administrative hurdles. And still we have the call for the amendment in the act. And mismanagement and corruption is a very big problem as all over the world, and lack of awareness and encroachment of Waqf properties. So the early Muslims, they have the good awareness about the Waqf. So they did Waqf a lot of lands and properties, but it's the recent years, recent era, the Waqf, the awareness is very less. So doing Waqf is become very less. So need awareness among the Muslim society. So there are types of Waqf: immovable Waqf, and land and building, and agricultural land, and graveyard, religious streams. So all these type of the immovable Waqf in Sri Lanka. So also we can find the movable Waqf, right? Cash Waqf, and books and manuscripts and livestock and equipments. So all these Waqfs are there. So, but the detailed registration of this Waqf is the problem, one of the major problem in Sri Lanka. And also revenue generating Waqf, commercial Waqf shops and market buildings are there. Still their income has a problem. Still sometimes they pay for as a rent, very small, simple amount, and also agricultural productions there. So when when I try to collect the registered Waqf asset in Sri Lanka through the Department of Muslim Religious Culture Affairs, and I had a meeting with the directors, many sittings with them. So I can find this is the registered Waqf in Sri Lanka. So we have 2,500 registered mosque, and unregistered is 9,000. And we have registered madrasas, 317, and unregistered is 132. And charities and trust registered 45. So that means under all these registered and unregistered madrasas and mosques and charities, they have detailed Waqf assets, and we don't have that numbers and figures even with the Muslim Cultural Department. So this area need to do research and collect the correct informations. So I recommend I can give this recommendation for Sri Lankan Waqf.
Yeah,
So
for less than 1 minute, please, Dr. Naeem.
okay. Legal reforms and capacity building, awareness campaigning, technological integration, and public-private partnership. So in conclusion, I can say Waqf has played a crucial role in religious, educational, and social upliftment of Muslims in Sri Lanka. While the system faces several challenges with proper legal reforms, effective management, and community engagement, Waqf can continue to serve as a pillar of social and economic development. Strengthening the Waqf system will not only benefit the Muslim community, but also contribute to the broader national development of Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Naeem, for this idea about Waqf in Sri Lanka. And we hope, inshallah, in future years, that you can do the best to improve the situation in Waqf in Sri Lanka. Actually, we were honored to have Dr. Ruhul Amin from Bangladesh join us today to speak about Waqf in Bangladesh. However, due to time zone differences, he was unable to participate live. So instead, he kindly sent us a recorded presentations. But unfortunately, due to technical issues, the audio quality was not clear enough for us to present it as intended. Therefore, I will now provide a summary of his key points to ensure that we will still benefit from his valuable insights. So please, Sister Rasha, can you present the... Yes, thank you. Okay, I want to skip these slides about the historical Waqf in Bangladesh. I want to go to the types of Waqf assets in Bangladesh. Dr. Ruhul Amin mentioned that this huge number of Waqf, excluding Waqf, cash Waqf, they have around 171, more than 171,000 of Waqf. Registered Waqf under the government, 20,000, but unregistered, 150, more than 150,000 of Waqf unregistered. And they have cash Waqf around $30 million across 11 banks. When he talks about the size and distribution of Waqf properties, so he mentioned that total Waqf land, they have more than 600,000 acres. It was agricultural land, pools, and others. Waqf real estate assets, they have more than 120,000 of mosques. They have more than 7,000 schools and college. They have Eid ground and cemeteries, around 76,000, more than 76,000. So we have a huge acres of properties or lands in Bangladesh. And then when he talks about the management body, which is managing Waqf assets, he talks about that independent body. They have independent body, which refer at the end of the day, we refer to the government, but it is not as a ministry of Waqf. It is an independent body, and this Bangladesh Waqf administration ensure supervision, registration, and legal compliance. They have many rules that established to rule the Waqf, starting from 1934, Sister Russia, starting from 1934, and then they have Waqf Ordinance in 1962, and then the last act is Waqf Amendment Act in 2013. What is the responsibilities of Waqf administration? This body can do these tasks: registration and auditing of Waqf assets, appointment of mutawallis and legal supervision, ensuring Waqf income is used for charitable purpose, modernization and legal enforcement, strengthening Waqf investment and development, taking legal action against violations and unauthorized occupation, digital transformation. They want to, or they are shifting Waqf records to paperless system. Then they talk about the legislation milestone. Yeah, we talked about the rules, and then the future vision of Waqf in Bangladesh. He talks about enhancing the economic role of Waqf to create jobs, expanding cash Waqf to fund social project, and we saw that they have a huge number or a huge amount of cash Waqf, and full digital transformation for efficiency and transparency, which we see that in the world that they are shifting to technology and AI, as we see. So this is the summary of, or a brief for his presentation. I hope that can يعني enlighten for the key points of his speech. Now we are going to the next step is with Mr. Akram Al-Jabbar. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Akram Al-Jabbar, an esteemed expert in the field of Waqf, and he is the director of Waqf Liaison Forum. Mr. Al-Jabbar will providing his insights and commentary on the presentations of our distinguished speakers, offering a deeper analysis and valuable perspective on the topics discussed. We look forward to his contribution, which will further enrich our understanding of the Waqf sector in the Indian subcontinent and beyond. Mr. Akram Al-Jabbar, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Alaikum salam.
Firstly, I would clarify the figures quoted earlier for India. Those figures were collected sometimes in 2005. Thereafter, since 2011, we are undergoing digitization. We are doing a digitization of all Waqf properties. And according to that digitization website, as on date, there are 8,72,729 properties belonging to 3,56,344 awqaf. That's a pretty big number, almost double the size of Bangladesh, their number. And then we have 16,716 immovable assets, immovable Waqf. And the digitization has been completed in 3,30,000 cases. Although, as an activist, firstly, I'll give you my background. I'm a retired Chief Commissioner Income Tax. I retired 15 years ago. Then suddenly one fine morning, I found an article in Urdu to be translated in English, sent to me by some government authority. It was by late Maulana Wali Rahmani. नए औकाफ क्यों नहीं बनते? Why are not new औकाफ coming into being? So that article opened my eyes. There is so much potential, so many properties. What he was referring to, different big cities like Calcutta, like Delhi, like Hyderabad. So many properties and still so much poverty among Muslims. So much backwardness, educational backwardness. So much sickness which cannot be held except for sadaqah, zakat and such like. So I started, that changed my life. Really changed, upside down, or rather downside up. So
Really,
I
if the poor see these presentations and these numbers, wallah, I don't know what they want to say.
that is the problem. That is the problem. I have seen the presentations from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and there are so many common things like public awareness is least, the minimal. Public does not know. The beneficiaries do not know what is lying for them. Waqf fi sabilillah. I'll give some example. Some 800 years ago, a small child, he was sitting, a slave boy, he was sitting on a platform on a road and weeping. By his side, there was a broken pot with some eatables. So some bypasser asked him, "Why are you weeping?" He said, "My master has sent me. They sent these cooked things to his sister's house, and this pot fell from my hands. It broke, and it's a very valuable pot. Now I'll be beaten. I'll not be given any salary, etc." So that gentleman took out a piece of paper, wrote something on it, and he said, "Go down the street and then turn right. You'll find this building, and just give them this piece of paper. They'll compensate you the cost of this broken pot." So that was 800 years ago. Now we are having so many problems, diverse problems. Each household has a different problem. Our Prophet ﷺ said that you don't go to sleep. You can't, your food, the food inside your stomach, which you have earned through halal means, will become haram if even one goes to one among 40 houses all around, goes asleep hungry. So the Prophet, he was a great philosopher. It does not mean only food. It means common average needs of life. Somebody's daughter is unmarried, turned 30, he has no money, can't marry her. Somebody's child can't go to a university, finishes, enter and finds a small job. So there are so many needs that these awqaf can cater. I think, having heard all from the three blessed countries, I can say that the system laid down in our country, in India, is far, far better. But the practice is as bad as it is there. Lots of corruption, lots of ignorance, lots of lack of knowledge by even the administrators in the Waqf board. There are 32 Waqf boards in the country, 30 Waqf boards, Sunni Waqf boards, and 2 Shia Waqf boards in UP and Bihar. So 32 Waqf board and managing a common law. You may have heard there is a proposed amendment bill to be introduced in the parliament shortly. So things are in a flux. But still, I can say that even in spite of all that, there will remain so many Waqf properties which can be developed if properly developed. And I'm really grateful about cash Waqf thing from Bangladesh, which we are trying to introduce here. Cash Waqf meaning people giving cash to those properties where there is no money. And out of commercial construction or construction of schools and hospitals, etc., that becomes a Waqf. The cash Waqf. So that we can adopt from them, but I would advise by Pakistani and Bangladeshi and Sri Lankan colleagues to study the income, this Waqf Act 1995 as amended in 2013. Is there on the internet. They can study and they can say the system placed is fairly good. Unfortunately, that has not been implemented at all with the sincerity it deserves. I thought, having retired from a department, income tax department, my Pakistani colleague would understand It's a very badnaam zamana department. But then when I stepped in and saw this Waqf department working of Waqf, I found it's far, far bad. And being managed by all by Muslims, when you consider this Muslim factor, Muslim population and for Muslims this and that, we see that so far Muslims have been managing. Hardly even 0 point something percentage somewhere, somebody working, some non-Muslim working. And so there is great potential. If we develop these awqaf for build commercial properties like the gentleman said in Pakistan, 30 commercial properties with some place in. So something like that, if we build, I am mutawalli of a property about 40 acres in urban Pune, and its value would be around 600-700 crores as on date. Unfortunately, the encroachers to whom the mutawallis, the earlier Majawars, sold that property, they are still sitting there. We are fighting tooth and nail, and we'll win. We know we have the sanad, the waqfnama, we have the alienation record. Everything is in our favor. Soon we are going to get full control of that property. And on that property, we have made plans. I'm just referring to it to show what great potential these properties have. If we think that we have to do something like we do with our own property. Suppose I own a half an acre of land somewhere, I would always be worried sick how to develop that and earn money out of that. So the awqaf properties, fi sabilillah, what I believe in Pakistan, they are public properties. What they say public properties, they are fi sabilillah properties. So that kind of devotion and sincerity we have to inculcate. Nobody has talked about Waqf activists. I'm an activist. And my point is that until you move and get things going, no need talking about the possibilities. So I'm grateful that you invited me. We can all work together, learn from each other. While going through the presentations, I learned from my colleagues from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka.
So your advice is to start from the nation, not from the government.
No, my advice is that we should go whole hog for development. In Indian Waqf Act, the provision is there since last 30-35 years about development. Wherever the Waqf board thinks there is development possible, they would ask the mutawalli to develop. If the mutawalli refuses or shows his inability, then Waqf board itself will develop. Such a fine provision there, but it's still in the name of development, hardly 1%, even less than that. So why? Because the public in general did not know. I too came to know about the great potential of awqaf at the age of 64. So one can imagine this knowledge has to be carried to the public, the beneficiaries, the actual beneficiaries. And particularly, you are holding this webinar in the month of Ramadan. I believe Allah should listen to us and our prayers, and the public should be aware, and they should come up and ask, this belongs to me. What are you doing? How you are allowing these encroachments? Since 2013 in India, we cannot sell. No Waqf property can be sold, parted with, etc. It is forever. There is a Supreme Court judgment of 1998, which says once a Waqf, always a Waqf. So that when we have such an asset, that should be developed and exploited to the full. If I have a limited piece of land, like a 10 by 10 square foot property, 10 by 10 foot property adjoining a mosque, which we invariably have everywhere where people park their bicycles and all, we can build a shop. and that shop can start churning money for not much money, but some money for to be given to as salary to the pesh imam, to the muazzin, and also will generate employment. Like some boy will be kept there as a salesman, and the government will earn through taxes. In India, we have GST practically lagu on everything. So you sell a bread and get GST at the rate of 10%, 12%. So that money goes to government. Unemployment is reduced. So if we exploit these work properties all around, like in their countries, in my country, it will be absolutely wonderful. So that is what I wanted to add. And
Thank you.
thank you very much for organizing this seminar. But we should be talking about the actuals and the possibility.
No. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Akram Al-Jabbar. Barakallah Feek about this comment. As we move forward, I would now like to open the floor for the discussion or the comments and questions from our participants. Please feel free if you want to ask, raise your hand or just start opening the microphone and if you have a question. Maybe at the end of the day of fasting, I think our brothers and sisters, actually in my country now, we are reaching to the critical time for iftar. But if we have any comment or question, it's open, inshallah. طيب, there's no questions. طيب, we want to finalize. As we come to the conclusion of this enriching forum, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our esteemed speakers and participants. Special thanks to our organizer and everyone who played a role in making this discussion possible. May our efforts, inshallah, in advancing Waqf initiatives continue to bear fruit for the benefit of our community. And we are in Ramadan now. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all our deeds, prayers, fasting. Thank you all. And just we want to take a photo to finalize. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you can please open the camera with a smile. And inshallah, we want to take a photo. Can you open the cameras, please? Yeah. ما شاء الله. طيب 1 2 مرة ثانية 1 2. Thank you very much and see you again next session and بارك الله فيكم.
جزاكم الله.
وتقبل الله طاعتكم.
السلام عليكم.
سلام.
الله خير.
جزاكم الله دكتور مصطفى.
بارك الله فيكم. الله يجزيك خير دكتور سامي.
أنا عايز يمكن أخرج من زوم.
Can you stop recording, sister?